Deep in the heart of an ancient forest, where the trees were older than memory and the wind carried the whispers of many seasons, lived an old gray wolf named Kael. Kael had once been the fastest hunter in the valley. Years ago, his paws had moved like lightning through the forest, his eyes had been sharp, his strength unmatched. The animals respected him, and many feared him. But time changes every creature. Now Kael walked slowly. The younger wolves in distant hills ran faster than him. His fur had turned pale with age, and his once powerful legs often grew tired before the day ended. Many nights he sat alone near the edge of the forest, staring at the mountains. "Perhaps my time has passed," he murmured to the quiet wind. High above him, perched on the branch of an ancient oak tree, lived a wise old owl named Mira. Mira had watched the forest for many years. Her golden eyes had seen storms come and go, rivers change their paths, and proud creatures rise and fall. One evening, as the moon rose softly above the trees, Mira spoke. "Why do you look at the mountains with such sadness, Kael?" The old wolf lifted his head. "Because the forest no longer needs me," he replied. "I am slow now. The young are stronger. I no longer belong to the life I once had." Mira tilted her head slightly. "Strength is not the only way a creature can matter." Kael sighed. "That may be true," he said quietly, "but I do not know what else I am meant to be." A few nights later, a great storm swept through the valley. Thunder rolled across the sky like the footsteps of giants. The wind howled between the trees, and the rain fell harder than the forest had seen in many seasons. When the storm finally passed, the forest had changed. Branches blocked the paths, the river had overflowed its banks, and many of the younger animals had lost their way in the dark woods. Fear spread quickly. The deer no longer knew the safest paths through the forest. The rabbits could not find their burrows beneath fallen branches. Even the foxes moved carefully, unsure of where the ground had become dangerous. From high above, Mira watched the confusion. Then she turned her gaze toward Kael. "Do you see what has happened?" she asked. Kael lifted his head. "The forest is lost." Mira's golden eyes glowed softly in the moonlight. "No," she said gently. "The forest is waiting." Kael frowned. "Waiting for what?" "For someone who remembers." You see, Kael had spent his entire life walking through that forest. He knew every narrow path between the trees, every safe crossing in the river, every hidden trail that curved quietly through the hills. Things the younger animals had never needed to learn, because they had always been fast enough to escape danger. But speed had never taught them patience, and patience had taught Kael everything. That night, the old wolf stood up. His legs were still slow, but his mind was steady. Mira flew above him, her wings silent in the dark sky. "Follow Kael," she called gently to the frightened animals. At first they hesitated. He was old, slow, quiet, but Mira's voice carried wisdom, and slowly the animals began to follow. Kael walked through the forest one careful step at a time. He led the deer around fallen trees. He guided the rabbits to safe burrows hidden beneath roots. He showed the foxes a dry path along the edge of the river. All night long they walked. Mira's bright eyes watched the forest from above, while Kael guided the creatures below. And slowly the forest found its rhythm again. When the morning sun finally rose above the hills, the animals gathered in a quiet clearing. They looked at Kael with something he had not seen in many seasons. Respect. Not for his strength, not for his speed, but for something far greater. Wisdom. The deer lowered their heads in gratitude. The rabbits thanked him softly. Even the clever fox bowed slightly. Kael looked around the clearing, surprised. "I only walked the paths I already knew," he said. Mira landed gently on a branch above him. "And that," she said calmly, "is exactly why the forest needed you." Kael looked at the rising sun, and for the first time in many seasons, he no longer felt old. He felt useful. He realized something important that day. Strength fades, speed disappears, but wisdom, the quiet lessons gathered through years of living, can guide others long after strength is gone.